What up, what up? Welcome back. Today, we're going to be recapping some of the foundational things that we've picked up or learned probably months, if not years ago, if you're watching this market relevant training. It's definitely important that we go back to the basics every now and then, that we check, we execute, we do the three things I talk about: watch it, learn it, and then implement it. Some of those of you that are newer into the program, those are the three rules, right? We can move as fast as humanly possible if we do all three of these things every time. That's watch it, consume the content, learn it, study it, know it, and then we got to freaking implement it, right? If we do the other two things but not implement it, we're wasting everybody's time. So watch it, learn it, implement it. Today we're going to be reviewing a few different things. One of those things being our processes. Getting involved early. How early is early, right? Are we developing frontline warriors, or are we just okay or complacent with the salespeople that we have? Having mentality shifts as we grow, it's super important, right? But I did have the opportunity to visit Jerry Hunt Supercenter in North Carolina. Man, what an operation, right? What an operation. These are mainly salespeople, some managers. You got the president of the company, Hayden Hicks. Man, he is a special individual. If you get a chance, you need to reach out. You need to meet this guy. They're doing amazing things, right? They're selling almost 1,000 cars, if not 1,000 cars. Will be 1,200 cars at the end of this year, a month. This is the finance team over at the Salisbury store. We got Jeremy, we got John, we've got Jonathan and Ashley. If you haven't met them, you're missing out. You need to meet these people. They're not only great humans, but they're great at what they do. They're professional. They have a couple different things in the finance offices or towards the finance offices that I want to bring up. Some of you might have it, some of you might not. They took a whole hood off of a vehicle, had a treated, untreated side, so that the customers could see the difference of their ceramic or their graphene products, that it actually makes sense. They make it part of the process to actually go out there and touch the hood with the customer, right? They instill some of those techniques with their salespeople because, again, they're creating what we call frontline warriors, right? The people that have the first interactions, the people that make the first impressions of your company and organization, the tip of the spear. We, as finance professionals, need to focus more on growing our people, on contributing to the business inside of the business, which is our people. Your job will be a lot easier once we develop these frontline warriors instead of just these salespeople, right? It's crucial. It's critical. Another thing that we need to do in finance that we don't pay enough attention to is attention. As ironic as that sounds, we need to create attention in our organization that separates us from the masses, right? If you're with the masses, you're going to get the mass result, which I know everybody on this training doesn't want average or right above average. We want to be elite. And to be elite, you've got to do the things that nobody's willing to do. One of those, Jerry Hunt Supercenter, they're listing out, these are all over their dealerships. It is almost to the point where a customer cannot miss it, right? It's right in your face. All of the benefits from their ceramic / nanographene or their graphene coatings, it's right there, right? It's right by the new vehicles, right by the hood. They also have 9 reasons why you should buy from Jerry Hunt Supercenter. If we don't have the reasons why the customers should buy, we don't know the reasons. Why should they know the reasons? They shouldn't and they won't. Get very clear. Create attention. Build frontline warriors. The process doesn't fail. People fail the process. Leadership shows up when things aren't going the way that they should be. How many of us can relate to that? Sometimes it's hard to think about, right? You've worked with these people for a long time. Some of the people that you're thinking about in your head right now are probably people that are above you, bosses, mentors, things of that nature, right? Some of them are salespeople. But I just want you to focus moving forward. How do I do this right here? How do I create attention in the finance department? How can I contribute to selling cars, to creating fans, to being a bigger cause than just pushing a contract and selling some product, right? Now let's move in to some of the most recent news in the finance sector, in the automotive industry. The FTC is cracking down. They sent a letter to 97 dealership groups stating their pricing. They're going to crack down on the consumer's price. What is actually shown in the price? What needs to be shown in the price? What is compliant? What is not compliant? You might be listening to this saying, what the heck does that have to do with me, right? Well, it has everything to do with you. If our customer, our consumer, feels like we are not being upfront, we are not being the three words that we talk about in the very foundational courses of this training: transparent, clear, and convenient. If we are not being those things, it throws flags. Anytime flags are being thrown before they get into our office, it makes our job what? Easier? No, not at all. It makes our job a lot harder. So staying on top of what is the industry talking about, right? What are some things that they're going through? What are some compliance rules and regulations? Some things that we think that we know that maybe have changed, right? I was working with the Lasco group, and Jacob and Ben and Madison, if you're listening, please chime in. Please send some notes, some text to some dealers that you might know. It's so crucial to keep up on the compliance aspect of a dealership, right? One of those things being the first pencil. We had to do a lot of investigating. We did some research, and we found out that it is still compliant to not show the rate on the pencil. On the first pencil with the customer, you do not have to show the rate. Now, when the customer commits to the deal and they go into the finance office, obviously rates, payments, everything has to be disclosed black and white. But on a compliance perspective, now dealership to dealership, if that's the way that you feel like you need to do business, by all means, right? But in the compliance rules and laws, it does not state that you have to show the rate. It actually says that you do not have to show the rate, right? A lot of the legalities and the compliance doesn't hit until the customer gets into your office or at least commits to the deal, right? And we're going to show them all the things on the contracts. We're going to show them the rates. We're going to show them the interest, the Fed box, all of those things. So just big picture, educate yourself constantly on what our industry is doing. How can we be more compliant, and how can we gain attention, good attention, right? That could be either way, bad or good, but how do we gain good attention from that customer? Talking about processes, early is not early enough. You've heard me say this multiple times, but early is not early enough. How can we get involved in these deals before, this might sound crazy to you, before they're actually deals? If you think that you're getting involved early, I guarantee you there was a 30-second, a 20-second, a 45-second window where you could have shaken a hand. You could have been present. You could have made another form of contact. These guys are doing it. Jeremy, Jonathan, Ashley, John, you guys are doing it. Hayden over the Super Center, everybody's doing it. They wouldn't sell 1,000 used cars. And by the way, they're an independent store to make it better, right? A lot of you all watching this are probably in the franchise world. They're independent, selling 1,000 cars a month. They don't do it by not knowing the things. They do it because they do the monotonous things, the things that people don't want to do or see important. They're continuing to do it on a daily basis. It's going to compound, and they're going to win, right? They're going to win, and they're going to win at elite levels, and I'm so proud to be a part of that. But early is not early enough. Look at your processes. Question everything, right? Is this the best way? Is this the most convenient way? I'm recently looking for a Yukon for my wife, right? I'm going through the process, and I've hit up a couple different dealerships, and one dealership I sent one text saying I was interested, screenshot what I was interested in, had the stock number, the VIN number. I'm interested in this car. Is it here? I got 27 text messages from 3 different numbers before I could even breathe, right? Audit your processes. To me as a consumer, like, I get it. I'm in the industry. I can understand it. But a lot of people, that's annoying. A lot of people, that's overkill. A lot of people, that's confusion, right? They don't know who to text back, when to text back. There's 3 different links or numbers that are messaging me. Get very clear. To be clear is to be kind. Write that down. To be clear is to be kind with our people, with our processes, with our relationships with our lenders, with all of the things, right? With the way that we relay products. So again, early is not early enough. Question your processes. When are you getting involved? How can you get involved earlier? How can I get out of my office and impact this team to a point where they're scared to lose you? If they lost you, they would lose business. Bring outside business that your dealership doesn't just walk through your finance office and hand you a deal. You're generating those deals. You're doing those deals because, as we all know, past customers are what? Future money. How many of us have had a referral and we work up a deal 6, 8, 10 months later for them and we just say, hey, I got it done the same way you did it before, and add this little piece to it, right? We did tire and wheel and VSE, and this time I was able to work out the gap where it's only $12 difference instead of 27 like it was last time, right? Throw in an extra product. Make them another deal. Ask for more. Ask for more. And that's what we're going to get into today. We're going to be talking about the 5 Ps, right? The 5 Ps of F&I. I'm going to list them out real quick, and I want you guys to write these down. Protect, prescribe, price for profit, present every deal every time, and don't prejudge. I put that last, but that might be one of the hardest, right? Especially if you're that veteran that's watching this. If you've done tens of thousands of deals, if you've been in the industry for, 10 plus years in the finance office, the don't prejudge one might be the hardest. Because we think that we've seen every scenario and that we understand that customer more than they understand their self. Which, hey, I'm not knocking it because I was one of those people. And I promise you, if I would have focused on not prejudging more than I did, I probably would have made more money, right? I probably would have been $3,800 a car. I probably would have sold a few more products per deal. It's hard to do. But those are the 5 Ps of F&I that we're going to focus on with the remainder of the training. Protect, prescribe, price for profit, present, and don't prejudge. Moving into that, and again, the order is not necessarily as important. On this graphic, it's got don't prejudge, price for profit, prescribe, protect, and present. So that's what we're going to go off of, right? Don't prejudge. Again, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. We feel like we've seen all the scenarios, we've done all of the things, but it will benefit you not to prejudge that customer. Go into it with everything that you've got. Go into it with presenting all the products with some profit, with enthusiasm, with confidence, all of those things. Don't prejudge. Price for profit. It sounds so simple, right? Sounds so simple, and I can't tell you how many finance managers I've worked with that it's really just small little tweaks that gets them $400 to $500 a copy. What would $400? I want you to think about this. I want you to write this down and do the math, right? What would $400 to $500 per car, per transaction that you do, if you jumped that the next 60 days, what would that do to your paycheck in that 90-day span, 30 days after that? What would it do to your paycheck? For a lot of you, it means a lot of money, right? Or it could mean products per deal. Either way, work your pay plans, right? But I guarantee it's going to make you some money. Price for profit. Understand that customer, we're negotiating. They're planning to negotiate with you. So if you start where you need to be, you'll never get where you want to be. If you start where you need to be, you'll never get where you want to be / have to be, right? However you want to word it. If I start at $3,000 for a VSE and I have to get $3,000 to max it out from the lender, I guarantee you 80% of the time you're going to have to go into $2,700, $2,400, $2,300 to get that customer to negotiation to where they agree upon, where they feel like they're winning, right? So if we price for profit and we start at $38.99, if we start at $42, whatever the price is, right? The big picture is start above where you need to sell the contract at. That way you have a negotiation buffer. Also, with that, don't start at the highest coverage with the lowest deductible. I would much rather give that customer something than take it away. What do I mean by that? I would rather give that customer mileage. I would rather give that customer term. I would rather give that customer a better deductible, and then we can negotiate price. But if you don't have those other few tools in your tool belt or things to give them, then you're cutting straight to profit, right? So I always started a little above average, right? Let's say you got a used vehicle and you've got a 3-year to a 7-year, a 36,000 mile to a 125. I'm going to start in the middle somewhere and go up maybe one more. If I have deductibles of $0 to a $500 disappearing, maybe I start at a $200 deductible and I could move to a $500 disappearing, or I could move down to a 0 if I needed to go all the way down, right? Customers using the deductibles, the mileage, and the term on your coverages, you're going to get more products. You have more to conversate about. The customer feels the gift of reciprocity. When the customer feels like you're giving them something, they feel like they need to give you something back, right? Don't prejudge. Price for profit. Prescribe. What does that mean? Prescribe. You're the doctor. You're the professor. You are the professional. You do this every single day. You're the expert, right? Making sure that we show the customers, we guide the customers, we tell the customers, we prescribe to the customers. This is what you need, and this is why you need to do it. Customer doesn't understand it. Maybe they get upset. Maybe they throw an objection. It is your duty and responsibility. It's not just your job. It's your duty and responsibility to educate them, to show them, to tell them why they need it. Mr. Customer, I understand. Maybe you didn't buy it on the last 4, 5, 10 vehicles that you had, but you didn't have me attached with it. This is why you need it. And I would be doing you and myself and the dealership a disservice if I didn't educate you properly, if I didn't show you the exact benefits and the reasons why. Now, if it doesn't make sense at the end of it, I'm not going to make you buy it to buy the car, right? We're not forcing these people to do it, but we're educating them in a way that, just think of it like being a professor. Not all students are equal. Not all of them are going to be doing their homework every time, studying for the test, writing the exam, and then coming in and acing the final. You've got those students like me, right? In the past, where I didn't study hardly at all. I'd turn in a homework assignment every now and then, but at the end of the day, I'm going to ace the test, right? So you've got different learning styles. You've got different people and different things that will help close the deal. You've got different things that will help close the deal. So I'm telling you, prescribe the medication, the protection the customers need, right? Protect. What does that mean? Obvious, right? We're protecting the customer at all costs, but we're also, and write this down, you're not only protecting the customer, you're protecting the dealership and you're protecting yourself. One of the number one rules that we had, and we only had a few, one of the number one rules was act in the best interest of the company at all times. It can be a very big umbrella, right? With all the decisions that we have throughout a day, if you ask yourself, am I acting in the best interest of the company at all times? It'll help you very quickly figure out what is the right answer, what is the wrong answer, and get clarity, right? That's number one, is to get clarity. So protect not only the customer by giving them the best coverage that you possibly can that makes sense and you can still make profit, right? So like if a customer, let's just say they bought a 80 to 100,000 mile vehicle and you have a powertrain, or you have a powertrain plus some electronics and different things, right? If it's the cost isn't but a couple $100 difference, I promise you in the long run, it's going to pay off to give them the best coverage that's available that makes sense. I'm not saying, and please listen to this, I'm not saying that if you have a powertrain coverage, a 2-year, 24,000 mile powertrain coverage on a 100,000 mile vehicle, and you go to a 3-year, 36 powertrain plus that has some electronics, and it's thousands and thousands of dollars of difference, bump the customer, right? Educate the customer, figure it out. And if not, some coverage is better than not. I'm just saying, use your conscience, right? 99% of people that are watching this, that are in this group, you're going to do the right thing. But we've got to remind ourselves, protect the customer, protect yourself, protect the house. Am I acting in the best interest of the company? Present. It's time to sell, baby. It's time to sell. Sounds pretty straightforward. You would think that all finance people, they understand what present means, right? But when I go into these in-stores, when I sit in these offices, when I see these presentations, some of them are robotic. Some of them are boring. Some of them, they go ahead and tell the customer they don't need this product, or I wouldn't recommend that. Like, that's not our job. That's not our job, right? Our job isn't to make the decision for the customer. It's to give them as much information as we possibly can so that they can make an educated decision, right? So making sure that we understand, present every deal every time, every deal every day, every line every time, right? Every deal every day, every line every time. That means if you've got the opportunity to present the coverage to the customer, we need to do it, regardless if they have to come out of pocket. And hey, I get it. I've been in the seat. I understand you've got that 525 beacon that took forever to get bought. They're at a 24%. You're trying to bump them $150 a month for a short-term coverage. I understand. And sometimes you don't want to show that SPP program. Sometimes you don't want to show that if they came out of pocket $1,500, we might be able to include the other $1,500 in the financing because it would offset the deal, right? I understand. I get it. But we got to do the things because 9 times out of 10, maybe you don't get anything else. Maybe on in that scenario, they don't have the money. They can't come out of pocket. You present the deal. It takes you an extra 4 to 5 minutes, right? Maybe you lose out on 4 to 5 minutes. But on the one deal that you didn't do it on that would have forked out $2,500 because they didn't know that if they had $2,500, they didn't understand the risk of not having this type of coverage until you did your job and explained it, right? Then they would fork out the 25 or go find the money that they needed. Present every deal every day, every line, every time. Practice the 5 Ps. I'm going to reiterate it again. Protect, prescribe, price for profit, present on every single deal. Don't prejudge them before they come into your office. You're going to make more money. You're going to be more successful, and the zeros in your bank account will go up, right? That's what we want. Every deal, every day, every line, every time. We talk about it, the 3P. Are we actually doing it? This is a reminder. I'm not going to harp on this, but I need you all to understand the importance of presenting a first menu, presenting the accept decline form. What do we do when we present the accept decline form? We apologize to the customer. Hey, Mr. Miss Johnson, first I wanted to apologize. Maybe I didn't educate you well enough or go through the different options because they are super valuable and a lot of people find value in it. And maybe I didn't go over it well enough for you, or maybe I didn't show you how we were able to fit it in the budget. But this is some things that maybe we can structure up. Maybe I'm able to switch the term. Maybe I'm able to pull over some smaller products. Using that form to your advantage will make a big difference. And then going back again, I probably see 40% of people that do the first 2. We'll say more, maybe 50, half and half. We'll go back a second time. 15 to 20 go back a third. We got to separate yourself from the masses. If you want different results than the average finance manager, you're going to have to act different. You're going to have to be different. Presenting that third time right before the contract and reassuring that customer, we can do it however you want to do it, but I would be doing you and myself a disservice if I didn't show you I'm able to get you key or the bundle product for an extra $14 a month if we do 75 instead of 72. I know we went over it briefly. Just wanted to, before we signed this contract, just wanted to let you know, again, it's only X dollars, right? A humorous, easygoing swing at it, 20%, 25% of people will say, yeah, go ahead and do it, right? And just be prepared for this because you're going to get the no's, right? We talk about this through the trainings. Be prepared for the no. You're going to get the no, have a smile, give them the paperwork, and then end with an 800% experience, right? But you're missing out if you don't. 20% on 100 deals, that's 20 products. That's a big difference. Say you're averaging $500 to $800 on that product, maybe not even that. That's a lot of money, and I'm sure you get paid 10 to 22% of gross, right? That's the national average depending on volume and different sizes of dealers. That's just money, right? We're picking up all the pennies and all the cents and all the dollars that we can. 3P, make sure we're not forgetting it. I'm going to end with this. The difference between an average and an elite F&I manager, it's not the talent. It's following the process every single time. Every deal, every day, every line, every time. Let's go out here and make some money.